Welcome to Heavy Talk. I'm your girl, Shannon Sharpe, aka Heavie, and I am back another episode of Heavy Talk, here to serve up some more straight talk with no chaser. Happy Heavy Talk Friday. As always, we have quite a bit to get into on today's episode, but I'm going to get right into it with giving you your inspiration, your weekly word. Today's word is wins. Celebrate your wins, whether big or small. Don't wait on others to acknowledge or celebrate you. Do it yourself. You earned it. You deserve it. This word was very important to me because I had a really big win this month, or rather this week. One of my webinars for my National Black Business series sold out. So that was a huge win for me. And whether it looked at it's big or small, I wanted to take time to acknowledge myself and to celebrate myself. So my mom took me to dinner and it was really nice. So this is a reminder for you that anytime that you accomplish a win, whether you look at it as big or small, don't just let it go past. Be sure to acknowledge yourself because things like that really do matter. Don't wait on others to acknowledge you. You start with doing it yourself. Hope that was helpful. And as always, for weekly words, make sure that you head to @HeavieTalk on Instagram, Twitter, or Facebook. Now let's get right into it. Before we do that, I want to again wish all of you a happy Black Business Month. And if you're not familiar, if you don't know, my brands, The Black Blog and Heavy Talk Meter, are hosting our second National Black Business Month series where we will be doing daily Black business shoutouts all month long. We also be hosting webinars on Wednesdays, like the one that I mentioned earlier that sold out. And on Fridays, we do Entrepreneur Spotlight. So make sure you check that out at theblack.blog. Let's start with a popular story that everyone's been talking about, and that is the movie The Blind Side. Now, this is my all-time favorite movie. When I heard about this, I was sad. When I tell you this is my favorite movie, this movie and Coach Carter, I ranked at like number 2. Absolutely love The Blind Side. And if you're not familiar with the movie, it's about a Black teenager. Seemed like he was homeless. He was going through a lot of family issues. He was taken in by a wealthy white family and they got him into football, and then he was really good at football. He got recruited by a lot of good colleges. He went on to be very, very good at football. So that's really what the movie was centered around, and Sandra Bullock starred in the movie. So it was a really good movie. It was really popular. I believe a lot of awards were won for the movie. It came out, I believe, in 2009. So this week, new information came out. Really not new information. Information that we never knew came out. And the main star that the movie was centered around, because this was a real story that the movie was based off of, Michael Oher came out and said that the whole movie, like the whole plot line of the movie, that it was all a lie. That's what he's saying. So he's essentially saying that he was tricked into a conservatorship and that the Tuohys stole, like they allegedly stole all of his money. He said that they made him sign a contract that gave them all the rights to his name and his likeness and allowed them to be able to make deals on his behalf. OMG. Now, the Tuohys, of course, have came out and said that this is not true, and the lawyer, and not the lawyer, but the author of The Blind Side actually also came out and said that he doesn't believe that it's true, and that he doesn't believe that the Tuohys took advantage of Michael Oher. This is what the author of The Blind Side was quoted saying. They showered him with resources and love. That he's suspicious of them is breathtaking. Now, I don't have the audio right now, but I will say it is worth going to go look up what the author was called. I believe he was doing an interview a couple of years ago where he was talking about Michael Oher and his education. And what he was saying about Michael Oher was less than pleasing. He was saying something along the lines of, Michael Oher is on the dean's list at Ole Miss, so that says a lot about the kind of students or the dean's list if Michael Oher is on the dean's list. I also saw something that said that the author of The Blind Side and the father of the Tuohy family are really close friends. So him coming out and saying that Michael Oher's claims are not true, he kind of is biased on it. So maybe his word shouldn't be taken as 100% facts. I am very interested in seeing how this whole ordeal turns out. And even if you're not familiar with The Blind Side, I wouldn't even go and recommend watching it, because if it is true that they did steal this man's money, don't give them any more money. Because from what I read, this movie brought in $300 million at the global box office. And if these people, the Tuohys, I was gonna say his parents, but they're not. If the Tuohys got some of that money, like already, let's not put any more money into their pockets. And the foulest part of this whole story is allegedly they made sure that Michael Oher didn't get any money, but the Tuohys made sure that their biological kids got some of Michael Oher's money. Now, how foul is that? That absolutely broke my heart. Like, I could not believe that. Couldn't believe it. Now let's get into sports. An update from last week's episode. I talked about new news that came out that was saying that Skip Bayless and Undisputed on FS1 had tapped Lil Wayne and Richard Sherman to be on the show. I also talked about how has been reported that the show took a brief hiatus after Shannon Sharpe left because they couldn't find any new talent, or they were trying to find co-hosts. Now, new news is coming now with Shannon Sharpe, and the new reports are that Shannon Sharpe is set to join First Take with Stephen A. Smith. I absolutely love this, especially if you can recall a couple of months ago when this news first broke. As soon as Shannon Sharpe, the news came out that he was leaving Skip Bayless, one of the first things that Stephen A. Smith said is, it would be a great thing. I would be lucky to have him on First Take. Like, he said this publicly. I absolutely love the public support that he shows Shannon Sharpe. So to see it all come first full circle, this is true that Shannon Sharpe will now be on First Take. I love that for Shannon Sharpe, and I love that Stephen A. Smith seemingly made this all happen. And I will be definitely looking forward to seeing how these two men how this matchup, if I will take place on First Take. Because Stephen A. Smith was already a lot. He can be a bit rough. So I'm interested in seeing how these two big personalities are going to come together for a First Take. More news in sports. I want to talk about all of these NFL signings. First, starting with the New York Jets. It seemed like the Jets is not playing around. When they got Aaron Rodgers. And what I love about Aaron Rodgers is Aaron Rodgers rides for his friends or his teammates. It seems like he went and took almost all of his favorite players from the Packers and brought them over to the Jets. The first big signing that the Jets have had recently was they signed running back Dalvin Cook, who used to play for the Vikings, which was a big rival of the Green Bay Packers. Then I went to go do some research just to make sure when I was about to record that I had this all right. Like, I could have sworn that he went and got some other key pieces from the Packers, and I was indeed right. Before they got Dalvin Cook, the Jets, they also signed one of Aaron Rodgers' favorite wide receivers and his close friend. I believe that Aaron Rodgers was in his wedding. They went and got Randall Cobb. Now, if you're a Packers fan or you know a little bit about sports, previously the Packers had let go of Randall Cobb a couple seasons ago. And then during that big thing when Aaron Rodgers was thinking about not coming back to football, not coming back to the Packers, I believe it was last season, one of the key things that he wanted to happen is for Randall Cobb to come back. And the Packers made that happen because they brought him back. So that just shows Aaron Rodgers' loyalty. So even more so, I'm sure he told the Jets, if y'all want me to come here, y'all got to go and get, my man's Randall Cobb. And they indeed when they got Randall Cobb. If that wasn't enough, they also signed another former Packer wide receiver, Allen Lazard. I absolutely love Aaron Rodgers' loyalty. And as I've been saying on previous episodes, and since Aaron Rodgers signed to the Jets, like, I really hate to say it, someone called me disloyal. I wasn't, loyal to my Packers team. But just like I said about Derrick Rose, wherever Derrick Rose go, that's where I go. Like, I don't care if he go to whatever team he go to, that's where I'm going. So the same thing with Aaron Rodgers, whatever team he go to, that's where I'm going. So it seems like I'm a Jets fan, and it don't seem like they're gonna suck because they got Dalvin Cook, they got a good running back. They got two of Aaron Rodgers, wide receivers that he has chemistry with, that he worked with on the Packers. So I think that is going to be a very good season for them. Who I don't think is going to have a good season is one of the teams that I absolutely hate. I'm not going to lie. I hate the Cowboys. I don't know why, but I strongly dislike the Cowboys. And I don't know if they're going to have a good season because new reports came out that Zeke Elliott, a long-time running back for the Cowboys, has signed with the New England Patriots. I must have been disconnected for a while because I didn't know that things were that bad where he wasn't going to sign with the Cowboys again and that he was going to go to the Patriots. And I would have thought that they would have got rid of Dak Prescott before they got rid of Zeke. Like, it seems like Dak Prescott performance in past seasons has been a little bit lackluster. So I definitely thought that he was going to be out of here before Zeke Elliott was. But clearly I was wrong. And I'm very interested in seeing how their season is going to go. And I know that Stephen A got all of his smack talking together because he probably hates the Cowboys more than I do. Like, he just might have me beat, and I have a strong disdain for the Cowboys. James Harden. Let's get to all that's been going on with James Harden. This week, James Harden has been pretty much a chatty Cathy, just been telling all the tea that's been going on with the 76ers. He has been keeping anything in-house. One thing that I will say is, like, at I don't want to say like a real job, but at a real job, it's no way that you can like speak on any type of forum and call your boss like a liar or really talk down on them. That just wouldn't fly. So James Harden, he just got really lucky. While he was in China, James Harden, I believe it was a live press event where he just started just talking about the president or the GM of the Philadelphia 76ers. It seems like all of this spiraled out of control because news came out that the 76ers had ended trade talks. And it was previously reported that James Harden wanted to be traded, and he wanted to be traded to the LA Clippers. So when news came out the 76ers had ended trade talks, that's when it just seemed like everything went left field. And at a press conference or a live event in China, James Harden said that the president of this, or the GM of the 76ers, was a liar. That's what he said. Daryl Morey is a liar and I will never be part of an organization that he's a part of. Now, right before I was about to start recording, I seen some more supposed comments that he said that was pretty much echoing the same sentiment. So not only did he pretty much call this man a liar once, but he said it twice, publicly. Again, I don't know any other job where like you can just speak out and call basically like your boss a liar and like you not get fired or terminated or like docked pay. Like, where they do that? But it all makes sense if these other reports are true, saying that James Harden is trying to make it as uncomfortable as possible, essentially forcing the 76ers to trade him. If that's what James Harden's plan is, I think it actually might work, because if he keeps saying stuff like this, I wouldn't want to have you here. If I was the GM that he's talking about, if I was Daryl and you keep calling me a liar, I wouldn't want you here, so I would just go ahead and trade you. I'd trade you to some place that you wouldn't want to go, but I definitely trade you. So if it's true that James Harden is trying to make it as comfortable as possible to force a trade, if he's using this method, it might actually work. So let's see how this turns out. Now, to a story that is eerily familiar to me. Quite a few pods ago, I talked about something that was going on with soccer, and I don't know like anything about soccer. I won't lie. But this story came to my attention and it was something I absolutely had to talk about. It was about, I believe, a Brazilian soccer player named Vicinius Jr. And he had been dealing with racial slurs and racial chants all throughout his season playing soccer. Like it got really, really bad while he was at these different games. The fans were calling him monkey. Like they were a whole stadium was just chanting monkey. I saw a video that showed like they had a prop. The fans had made like a prop of him, and they tied it to a bridge and like hung it upside down. So it was a lot of very cruel things that were going on. Someone actually made a little compilation video showing all of the different occurrences where the soccer player was just had to face all of these, racist behavior and racist chants from the fans. And this was really done because I believe it was the head of the whatever country that was, that came out and said that what this soccer player was saying wasn't true. So after the head of I believe it was a country came out and said it wasn't true, that's when this compilation video came out, just showing all the different occurrences of it. And that's when the soccer player, Vinicius Jr., continued to speak out about it. So in another similar story, there was another soccer player, an American soccer player, who was a victim of racist abuse while at a German Cup game. And the actual coach also said that it happened. It got really, really bad. This is what the coach was quoted saying. The stadium was 95% full. There were enough people there who could have intervened. I would say there's obviously a little truth to this because the spokesperson for the other team issued an apology on behalf of the team. So usually people don't really issue an apology if they don't know that something indeed did take place. So the fact that the spokesperson for the other team issued an apology means to me that they do believe that this indeed did happen, as compared to the last example where the people tried to say this is not true, the dude made it up, like no, when that was indeed proven to be a lie. This time they're taking a different approach and immediately came out and said, we apologize. As I'm echoing what the coach said, if it's all of these people in the stadium, someone should have intervened and said, this is not okay, like y'all need to stop. And this was yet another example for me that it doesn't matter where you go, what country you're in. If you're Black, it seems like you're going to face some type of racist behavior. And it's honestly sad. Like people just simply dislike you for the color of your skin is really disheartening. Honestly, very disheartening. Keeping with things that are disheartening, education-wise, the Arkansas Department of Education announced that it will not count AP African American Studies for graduation credits. This is why I firmly believe, when on past episodes I talked about the Florida DEI bill and all the changes that were made to the curriculum at the school that was limiting the teaching of Black history. I said it then, I said it now. I felt like it was going to set a really, really bad precedent, and that other states were going to try to continue in this same line just because if DeSantis could do it, they were going to think that they can do it, because it seems like he's been really successful at limiting the teaching of Black history and all of these DEI bills. So seems like this is in fact what has happened. And the Arkansas Department of Education made this choice like 2 days prior to classes starting. You just decided that AP African American Studies is not going to be counted for graduation credit. And I would like to note, though, that AP European History will continue to be offered for full credit. So what are you really saying here? If AP European History is counted for full credit, why isn't AP African American Studies being counted for graduation credit? It just doesn't make sense to me at all. And I believe Arkansas is the state where the governor of Arkansas, I think it's Sarah Huckabee Sanders, who used to be the former press secretary for Donald Trump, 45. Fact check me on that, but I'm almost 95% sure that that's who the governor of the state is. What a coincidence. Got on my Aggies. So let's get into HBCUs. What's going on my HBCUs? First, I want to start with some sad news, and that the president of TSU, a HBCU in Tennessee, has retired. Now you could be like, what's the big deal? People retire all the time. But I've talked about this on past episodes that there seems to be a trend where presidents of HBCU specifically, let me go back. Black presidents of HBCUs, specifically Black women presidents of HBCUs, have been either retiring or just resigning rather abruptly. We talked about Ruth Simmons on here. We talked about the president of TSU that Texas Southern had resigned. It was another that we talked about. All either resigned or retired rather abruptly. The story with Ruth Simmons was the one that had like the most real actual fact that, okay, something is definitely going on. The other ones is merely speculation, but Ruth Simmons, I believe it's Prairie View A&M, that one really shows that, okay, there's something going on with the board or higher ups where these presidents are maybe getting pushed out. And I believe that's exactly what's happening here at TSU, because I've been paying attention to what's been going on at TSU. I follow this page on Twitter. I'll try to reshare the page on HeavieTalk's Twitter. But this page, a couple months ago, they reported on a meeting that was happening with the president of TSU. It was like a Senate meeting where the president of TSU was speaking to the Tennessee State Senate. And one of the Tennessee state senators had something to say that was rather quite interesting. He was complaining, it seemed like he was seemingly complaining or having a problem with the fact that TSU has been, in his words, over recruiting, and they have had really big enrollment numbers. He was saying it like it was a bad thing. So the president of TSU spoke to that and was saying like it shouldn't be looked at as a bad thing that Black students want to come to TSU. Like, we're doing all the hard work to make that happen. So it shouldn't be looked at as a bad thing. And what the Tennessee State Senator was saying is that he feels like it's doing a disservice because there are other institutions to go to in Tennessee. So why are we only telling them to go to TSU? In all my days, I've never heard anything like that. Like, you would think that it's a good thing if any school has high enrollment. So why, especially with all the HBCUs go through, why would it be a bad thing that an HBCU has high enrollment? It was other stuff that was also going on that the Tennessee State Senate was, and the board was talking to them about stuff that was going on with housing and all this other stuff, which the now former president of TSU spoke to, which is, if we get all of the millions of dollars that have been withheld from us, maybe then, we can tackle housing. But thus far, we've been deprived of our millions of dollars. So once we get that, maybe we could tackle those problems. But in the meantime, we're doing the best that we can. Obviously, we have a really good band. We have record enrollment. We're not cutting any corners. So like, what's the problem? Seems like the lady got tired of it. She's sick of having to dealing with it, or they just pushed her out because she's now resigned. I found that to be really sad, and I'm definitely now going to keep my eyes on it more now than ever. What's going on with these HBCUs and their presidents? Are they being forced out, or are they simply just like, I'm tired, I can't deal with this, and they're just resigning and quitting? We'll keep our eyes on it. Now let's get into some good news that's been going on with my HBCUs. Alabama A&M University. Before I get into the good news, I want to talk about something that I found to be hilarious. So we've all heard about the Montgomery Brawl, where the Black man, I'm sure we've all heard about it. The Black man was just trying to do his job, just trying to get the white people to move their boat out the way. And they instead decided to jump this man, causing my man to swim across the ocean, swim across the river and get to him, hop right in the fight. Please swim across the river with full clothes on. Never seen nothing like that ever in my life. You have the man with the chair, which I will say I love that we've raised like over the article I read said like $300,000 in bail to try to get him out and get him adequate legal counsel. I love that because when like how, Rittenhouse, they got all of them funds. And when the man, believe his name is Daniel Penny, who killed the man on the subway, they raised like hundreds of thousands of dollars. So let's raise it for the man with the chair. He was sick and tired of being sick and tired. And can you really blame him? So after all that was going on with the brawl, all the funny memes, which we was all, I'm sure, cracking up, everybody was going out and buying chairs because they was doing all these different, reenactments. And Alabama A&M posted a very, very funny post on Twitter. And what they tweeted was, for some reason, there's a shortage of white folding chairs. Thankfully, we found enough for our AAMU 2027 students. Without saying it, they pretty much said all that they needed to say. We obviously know that they were talking about the bro. I found that to be absolutely hilarious. Now, in good news with Alabama A&M, they making history. They welcome over 2,000 freshman students to their institution this semester. This is the largest class in the university's history. Absolutely love to see it. More HBCUs that are reaching record enrollment. Morris Brown College. Now, if you're not familiar with them, I would definitely go do your research because they've been on the comeback. It's been a lot that's been going on with them, and it seems like they done got it together and they finna just rock it out. Morris Brown College is a Georgia-based HBCU. They had lost accreditation a couple years ago. Now they've got it back. And again, this semester, they've welcomed their largest freshman class as well. So not just Alabama A&M that's doing the darn thing with record enrollment. Morris Brown College, who's making a comeback, is doing the darn thing as well. Now let's get to my Aggies because I love me some Aggie pride. A new report has showed that my school, the illustrious North Carolina A&T, Aggie Pride every day, all day, has a record $2.4 billion with a B dollar impact on the North Carolina economy. Let me say that again in case you missed it. My school, the illustrious North Carolina A&T, has a record-setting $2.4 billion impact on the North Carolina economy. We absolutely love to see it. That's why I have to wear my Aggie hoodie because the Aggie pride runs deep, okay? Aggie pride every day, all day. Now let's get into all the things that had me like WTF because the streets have definitely been a raging. Let's start with a past WTF moment from last episode. I talked about a Big Brother contestant on this current season of Big Brother. The contestant was caught on the show's live feed saying the N-word. After he was caught saying the N-word, he was expelled from the game. He was kicked out because how dare you feel so audacious to say the N-word live, let alone at all as a white person, but you're going to say it live on TV as if that's just going to be okay. So he's now spoken out about this whole ordeal. I couldn't believe that he said this. What the man essentially said is that he said the N-word because he was just dealing with a lot. His direct quote was, "It was after about a week of malnutrition, a week of sleep deprivation. We don't really take into account the psychological distress of being under studio lighting 24/7. So he's blaming the conditions of the game on being racist and saying the N-word. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding? He was better off just not saying anything or just simply apologizing. But what you do say is you're going to blame the game. I'm sure quite a few people have been through a lot of stuff that they found to be distressing. And I seriously doubt that it caused them to be racist or ignorant towards other people. Like, don't try to blame Big Brother for your racist behavior. Just take accountability for it. WTF, that's absolutely baffling. Something else that I found to be baffling. Headline: University of Chicago has agreed to pay $13.5 million to students after being accused of participating in a, quote, price-fixing cartel with other prestigious schools to limit financial aids. This is what this article that I read from Business Insider said. The lawsuit accused the schools of having participated in a price-fixing cartel that is designed to reduce or eliminate financial aid. The article also said the plaintiffs said the schools favored wealthy applicants and conspired to reduce financial aid packages, and that they overcharged over 170,000 financial aid recipients by at least hundreds of millions of dollars. Now, I read something that said other prestigious institutions also participated. Here are some of the names: Brown University, Columbia University, Cornell University, Duke, Georgetown, MIT, Northwestern, University of Notre Dame, Vanderbilt, and Yale. So apparently, all of these schools conspired in what this lawsuit is calling a price-fixing cartel to limit financial aids. And the lawsuit claims that they favored wealthy applicants and overcharged and reduced financial aid packages. W, T, and the F. I don't want to get racy, but I look at it all as systemic racism, because by not giving financial aid or by giving limited financial aid, you are really affecting minorities, Black people. Like, so it's all a plan. They're going to try to get us any way that they can, in my opinion. I've been telling y'all, something is going on with the environment and that we need to do our part. NASA is saying July was the hottest month ever. July was the hottest month. I can only imagine when August is going to be, because it's been pretty hot. Can only imagine. Please recycle, please carpool, please use your paper straws. Please, we need a world to live in. They have not got Mars together. We cannot go to space. The people that tried to go in the Titan, we can't go that deep underwater. So we need to be on Earth. So let's please do our part, please. Thank you. Long lines formed at ATMs in Ireland after an IT glitch allowed bank customers to withdraw more money than they had in their accounts. So people was just taking out money, knowing good and well that they didn't have it. Now, the reality is that I seriously doubt that the next one that their account was not overdrawn, because after a while, this glitch is going to be fixed, and we're going to realize that you took out more money than you actually had, so you're going to have to pay it back, which is going to give you just way more problems. So it may seem like it was worth it then, but in the long run, I seriously doubt that it was worth it. But still, what type of bank glitch is that? And somebody, I'm sure, got fired for that, like WTF. This is why the long time saying was, the grass is not always greener. A woman left her husband and basically got scammed out of $10K because she thought she was talking to a Stranger Things actor. So the woman was married. She met this person. She thought it was a Stranger Things. She thought it was a Stranger Things actor. She left her husband to be with this man who she thought was an actor, only to find out it was a catfish. So not only did she lose her husband, she also lost $10K because she sent that to the scammer who was a catfish. You gotta make smarter choices. And she was she was a mother. How you just gonna break up your home? W, T, and the F. And last but not least, this one was just beyond me. Here's the headline. Florida woman accused of killing roommate soaked herself in Mountain Dew to interfere with DNA. the article that I read, this article was from Complex, said that the lady was picked up by the police for the murder charges. They told her that she was going to have to give DNA. So then she said, okay, I'm thirsty. The officer got her a diet Mountain Dew. She was drinking a Mountain Dew, and what the article said was she was stalling. She was taking her time drinking it. So the officer tried to take it from her, and when he tried to take it from her, she just started pouring it all on herself. What she thought she was doing was killing or getting rid of any of the DNA evidence. W, T, and the F. Like, lady, you really thought that Mountain Dew was going to change something? I mean, seriously. That wraps everything that had me like WTF in today's episode. Hope that you enjoyed it. I will catch you here for more Straight Talk with No Chaser. Same place, same time. I'm your girl, Heavie Sharpe, aka Heavie, and I'm out.